Okay, the second class going to be the book of Revelation. So in this book, what we're going to study? Well, Revelation is about the prediction about the future that John, the apostle, saw it. We believe that John saw this vision in not one time, but a series of many times when the emperor put him in the island of Patmos. We believe that the emperor tried to kill John many times, but John never died. He always come back, survive. And when the emperor decided to put him in the island to get him away from the whole world, John already 90 something years old, very old. And the rest of the other apostles already dead. Peter, James, Matthew, everyone else were killed and all dead. But John survived all attempt to kill him. He survived until he very old, and at 96 or something, while still in jail in Patmos, he saw all the series of vision many times. It might last many months that he record all his vision into the book of Revelation for us. After he done that, the emperor died. He get freedom. So he went back to Ephesus and pastored there until he died. We don't know how many more years, but he lived a very old age. You remember the last day when Jesus talked with Peter about, do you love me? 3 times. And after that, Peter asked Jesus, how about John? Jesus said that if I want him to live until I come back, it's not your concern, business. And the rumor going on that John will never die. Well, not exactly that way, but John lived the longest. And the one that died old, very old. The rest were killed. So John had a special life, a special ministry to write the book of Revelation about the future. And how far? Until the end of the world, until the end time. So thousands and thousands of years beyond his time. Since John wrote this book, it's only 2,000 years, but the end is still not here yet. So that far in the future, our future too. So we will learn in this book about the future of the churches and our future, our children's future too. Why we learn about it? So we can prepare ourselves, be ready, and in the same time, prepare and teach our children generation to get ready. And in the same time, while we're waiting for the return of Jesus, we do our best in this world. So the purpose of this book is to understand what God wants to tell us and get ready for the future. And we have some books, some commentary that you can have, you can buy, or you can take a look. And I always say that you don't need to buy any textbook because the lecture note will cover most of the thing we need to know. Unless you want to have a big textbook for your collection, that's another thing, but it's not cheap. And if you buy books, you can buy the used one. It's a lot cheaper than the brand new. And some of the used book is almost brand new because a lot of people just buy it and never use it. And later on, they decide to sell it. So that is the case. And there are many other resources beside the textbook is the website. A lot of websites have the book of Revelation commentary or a lot of advice or help that you can use them free online. So if you don't want to buy anything, it's okay. To come to class and join in the discussion, you get 15%. Reading the note, everything that I send you is another 15%. You join a small group study, you get 25%. Because all the small group will take a report of one page every time, and tell me who joined the group each time, each week. And put down the main question and the main topic that you discuss every week. And everyone who joined in that group, each time you get about 2% of your point by take part in that group study each week. And we have some other option, mean that Old Testament, mean that you go back to check the code of Old Testament from the book of Revelation and study them, that how it fulfilled in the book of Revelation. When we go to those sections, I will mention to you that John see this vision. It comes from book of Isaiah or from the book of Jonah or from the book of Daniel. And you can go back to that section, study it, write a few pages to get 20%. And another project is you can take a certain verses from the book of Revelation and study it. Make the outline, study it, make a paper out of it, while you select a certain passage about the future and make a paper out of it. You get another 25%. This is the guideline. If you want to do something else, it's okay. Some other project can replace some of this study too. If you want to do some other, like you want to a Bible study lesson for the men, for the women, for the youth, to replace some of this project, you can do that. Or you want to preach a sermon out of the book of Revelation, to do that instead of the study project. You can write a sermon from the book of Revelation and preach. And you can replace it for some certain project too. So that option that you can have. Instead of write the research paper, you can write a Bible study lesson, you can write a sermon, but need to be from the book of Revelation. So that option that you can have. And how we grade, it depends on how much you get from each section of work. And you get A, B, C, D according to the grade that you make in each work. And here is the guideline, what we're going to study. Like today, week 1, we have all the introduction, but we're going to study chapter 1, 2 today. And later on, each week, we will cover at least 2 chapters of Revelation every week. So Revelation have 22 chapters. So it's supposed to be finished in 12 weeks, 11 or 12 weeks. Plus today introduction, it might be 12 weeks. And they have some final exam or midterm exam that we don't take because we do the project instead. So we hope to finish everything before the final week, maybe 1 week early or something. It depends. If we take a break sometime in the middle, we might have to finish on time anyway. And they have some more resources that I say, that more book, commentary, book that below about the liberation, about the future, and some other online resources that this is all the guideline if you want to take a look on them. There are so many. And you don't need them if you don't want to, because it's not about the class. It's just about recommendation. If you have time in the future to go over them, that is okay. Okay, I will give you time to ask questions about all the requirements and how we're going to study. If you have questions, I believe that you might read this book several times or you might study it before in the past. But the format that we're going to study might be a little bit different because this is going to be academically background. So we're going to learn some about history, theology, and some other perspective too, to supplement what we learn about the book of Revelation. And each chapter will have different idea about the future, about what will go on, what will happen. One thing I need to let you know that the vision is not come, even we have chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's not like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, because sometimes it jump back and forth. So this is one thing that you need to know, that sometimes chapter 8 go back to talk about something in chapter 2, chapter 3. Sometimes chapter 4 talk about something in chapter 10. So why it happened that way? Well, the whole thing is when John recorded it, he did not record on chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 as we have today. All the chapter, all the verses is modern thing that modern scholar put it together, divide it for us. So it's easier for us to quote, to mention. But the whole thing that John record it in one piece. It all put together. No chapter, no verses. All the chapter and verses is modern day thing that scholar divide them, put them for us. So when we study, we can quote, okay, this from chapter 2, verse 3, chapter 3, verse 5. But in the original form, no chapter, no verses. So now you see that this is why sometimes it jump back and forth. I will tell you when we go to that situation that now this is the thing that not happened after, but it's already happened in the past. But John come to clarify it more. And John did not see all the vision in one time. He saw it several times. And each time he record more and more. And sometimes the new vision is the continuity of some vision in the past, but he see more detail. So he put more detail for us to see, to understand. Okay, now you understand that it's not originally or timeline perfectly, but all the story, all the vision connected to one another in one story, but it jump back and forth. So that is something that we need to know, because you might confuse sometimes that, oh, I already see it in chapter 3, but it popped up in chapter 9. Well, it just try to clarify more that happened. And to be fair with John, a lot of things in the future is no time as we know of today. A lot of things happen together and back and forth in the same time. It happened all over the world, and John cannot tell us everything in the same time. So sometimes he tells the same story in the perspective in Israel. Sometimes we tell the same story from a different part of the world or different group of people. So sometimes even the same situation or the same event, the same time that it happened, but on different part of the world or in heaven. So this is something that we need to know in advance.
John,
Yes,
meaning that what the vision that John saw or see, not in chronological order. You just see this part and then later see the same part, but different time.
yes. Sometimes John sees something continuity of one event, but sometimes it jump back to the past or jump back to the future of the same situation. So
Okay.
it's a little bit confusing sometimes because it's everywhere and every time. And it's not all John problem. It's our modern day scholar problem. Why? And they say that John did not write chapter or verses. We are the one who put it there. You get what I try to say? We guess what John see, and we try to put chapter for John. But we did not do all the good job because we don't know what exactly they are.
Meaning that something John saw before, but may not happen first. It's gonna happen the last thing that he saw.
You might be right because something that we put in chapter 9 might be already happened in chapter, should be in chapter 2 or chapter 3. And you need to understand the scholar who try to put chapter for us. When they got the whole thing, they so confused. They don't know what is next, what first. They can guess. But they cannot tell for sure that this thing come before this thing. Unless John mentioned that this thing come before this thing. So by the way, to say when they put chapter and verses on, they need to read the John vision several times, a lot of time, try to put together.
Okay, so when we study about systematic, does that mean that we try to connect together those things?
Yes, the same thing. Systematic theology is our effort try to put all the Bible teaching into chapter, verse, category that we can understand easier. But in fact, it comes from the whole Bible.
Okay.
So this is we call systematic theology. It's the man-made way to understand the Bible. And it's not guaranteed that we understand all perfectly, 100% correctly, no. But this is the best that man can do.
Yeah, still like almost like we predict the future according to John's vision.
Yes, and as much as the angel told John or John see, and a lot of things John don't understand at all. You know that now we understand John's vision more than John. Why? The simple answer is it already happened. John lived 2,000 years before our time. A lot of things that John saw already happened. You know that when I was a young boy in Thailand, I don't understand a lot of book of Revelation even when I read it. Why? Because in my time in Thailand, when I was a young boy, there is no internet. There is no satellite. And the whole village just have one black and white television. How can John say that when the two witnesses was killed in Jerusalem, the whole world watch it and see it and celebrate? I say, how could that be? How they see it in Jerusalem, we in Thailand or in Laos. But now it's possible, anything possible. through that satellite, to internet, the whole world can see everything in the same time. It's just 50 years, 70 years ago. Yeah, a lot of people study the book of Revelation 100 years ago, don't understand a lot of things that we understand today.
Yeah, I think even in the future, the young generation will see something more and they more
Yes.
understand than we are
Yes.
now.
Technology goes so fast. Everything changes so fast. So a lot of future already happened. In our lifetime, I believe there are a lot of fulfillment of the book of Revelation. So your job is to read the whole book of Revelation before we come to class, and as many times as you can, and take some note, write some question. You're going to have a lot. But without preparation, some of you will get lost because it's a compact books. And as I say that it jump back and forth a lot.
Yes, Ajahn, the book of Revelation is really confusing me. When I read, I dare not to teach because I'm not sure if I understand correctly.
You know that in my early ministry, I don't want to teach this book too, because the book that I'm not so sure. But now it's different, no? Even I'm not so sure, but something I know for sure. So I stick on what I know for sure and let the one that I don't know for sure for you to decide. We still need to study it because it's our future. It's important. It's like to say that I don't know about the future, so I don't want to know anything about the future. Well, I don't think that's a good answer. We still can do something about our future. And God revealed this book for us for a purpose. In Greek, this book called Apocalypso. It means that liberation, that English translate correctly. The opening, the telling of the future. This is the book is all about. But it turned out to be one of the very difficult books to study. Okay, you have more comment or question about what we're going to study and what we expect to get. So what I expect from you is a lot of practical idea that you can get from the books, what you can use the book for. And most of the project is a practical side that you're going to teach this book or you're going to preach this book for your project, for your people. And there is something very clear, something that already happened that you can teach, you can confirm to them that the Bible correct. Even John said this thing 2,000 years ago, now it proved he correct. It's already happened. It did happen, a lot of things.
So, Ajahn, are we going to study about the red horse, the green horse, all those things?
Yeah, we're going to talk all about them too. The part that we know for sure and the part that we still think that might be, because we don't know exactly something. Some things you have to wait for the future. And the problem with a lot of textbook or commentary in the past is they already predict a certain thing exactly, but it turned out it's not the case. Like a lot of leaders in 1,000 years ago, they predict about a lot of things, but it turned out it's not exactly that thing. Or even 500 years ago, a lot of scholars predict a lot of things, but it turned out it is not. But in that time, it looks similar, but it is not. Not far from time of World War II, about 70 years ago, a lot of scholars predict about Hitler, Nazi, that is the end time come. Because in World War II, it's almost similar to end time, but it turned out it is not. And if they make mistake, well, we have to come to what Peter answer the question that why. Peter said that God postponed a lot of time for the sake of the one that supposed to be saved. The number of the one who going to be saved is not fulfilled yet. So Peter answered that God postponed some time off. Well, I don't know. You accept that answer from Peter? Because people expect the end time very soon, but Peter said God postponed the time for the sake of believers. Well, that is the answer that Peter gave the church. So that might be the answer for a lot of things in the book of Revelation too. God postponed it for the sake of believers.
John, the book of Revelation so confusing if we give the wrong interpretation, or I mean that prediction, is it considered us to be blasphemous?
Well, John will warn us. They say that John talked about 3 blessings and curse. Mean that if you do the book correctly, you are blessed. If you do it wrong, you are cursed. So, but I will look at the third way, that if you sincerely believe and you're not just guessing, I think it should be a lot of okay. Because something we already know for sure, something we don't know, and something possible. So a lot of things in the book of Revelation in 3 categories. Something we already know for sure, something we don't know at all, something it might be. So we might have to go that way. Something we know, something we don't know, something we just guess.
Yeah, I think even in the book of Zechariah also talk about future, right? And even in the Old Testament.
Yeah, we have to quote all the book of Old Testament to support what happened in the book of Revelation. But still, even that, we still cannot predict everything. And it's not no excuse to skip the book because we don't know. We still need to study it, because this is our future. And a lot of things, when time comes, you will know, will understand. So a lot of things is that way. So I just want you to think about all the project of this class. You can plan to write some Bible study, some sermon, instead of do the research paper. Because for me, research paper is just for scholar, but for the practical pastor or church leader, I think if you like Bible study lesson or sermon, is more practical and more useful. So that's the option that you can take. Any more questions concerning what we're going to study or the syllabus? Well, I think most of you still numb with the book. But as I say that, your job is go to read the book of preparation in advance. If you can do it many times, it's still better than not read it, because without some background, you're going to get lost.
So, Ajahn, I have a question about that. So you allow us to read like 2 chapters a week, you say?
Or you can finish the whole book of Revelation many times as you want, or it will help you more. But at least you need to finish at least 2 chapters before you come to class.
Okay, that the project only come from 2 chapters for that project for every week, or you can go every chapter we want to.
If you join the small group study might cover 1 or 2 chapters a week. And I think the whole group can write just 1 page of paper for the whole group for each chapter.
So we do the same thing, like we pick up that topic, and then we talking about the topic, right?
Yeah, you can do that way. For example, in chapter 1, you talk about the 7 churches. You can discuss about why only 7 churches. Or you can go by verse, each verse of the Bible, that the name of the church, why a certain name. So whatever your group want to study, you sum up what the main idea that your group study on that night or that week. And that cover the whole group, everyone who join. I don't know, Kat, you join any small group study or you by yourself?
Yeah, we have our own group, and we join with the Ajahn Konsai too.
Okay. So that normally Konsai like note for the whole group, so that's good enough.
Yes.
Okay, did that answer Gao question?
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
And one more question that Ajahn talking about, that we can prepare for the sermon for the each chapter we learning. Is that we prepare that sermon for that chapter can be used for the group or just for the personal?
You don't need to do sermon for the 22 chapter. You can do just 2-3 sermon. Good enough.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Welcome.
That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay, if you don't have any more question, I will give you a break. When we come back, we start chapter 1. Okay, I will give you around 10-minute break and come back for chapter 1 of Genesis. Okay, we're going to start chapter 1 now. In chapter 1, start with verse 1. The book say that the book or the thing that God showed to Jesus. So it means that God the Father showed this to Jesus the Son. And Jesus want to share with his servant to mean that to all of us, but pass to John. And John mentioned that I am John, the apostle of Jesus Christ. And you see the Greek words talk about the thing that will happen, apocalypsis. It means that opening, showing, revealing the thing that hidden. So it means that God already opened everything about the future, but people ask that why we don't understand it. Well, the main thing is because it's a lot of things that come in the future. We have no idea what is it. Even John see everything. He don't understand it. Something that beyond his time, thousands of years. If we can see something in the future so far away, even we see everything clearly, we still don't understand. And that happened to John. He just lied down what he saw. And a lot of things in symbol. Later on, you might guess that what John tried to explain to us, that something can fly with their wing and can spit out fire from their mouth or from their tail. 2,000 years ago, John tried to guess what airplane or rocket or bomb or about. You have no idea what they are. But today we can guess a lot of things more clearly than John, because it happened in our time already. So this is something that Jesus allowed John to see, to share with John, but by the angel. And people ask, which angel is this? The Bible did not say. In time of Daniel, when the angel showed Daniel the future, the angel clearly said that I am Michael. So that's clear. The angel for Israel. And it tells us something that every country have angel of its own. You know that all countries claim that they have big angel as protector. And they're correct, because the Bible confirms that every country have angel who control or look over each country. Either good angel that's still faithful to God, or bad angel who are against God. So there is angel taking care of that country, certain country. And John tried to tell us that I just confirm and tell you what I saw, that what God showed me, the best I can. And that is 2,000 years ago. And I already mentioned that John was an old man, about 96 years old, and went through a lot, but he's still healthy. And God going to keep him that way many more years. He's going to be the old man amongst all the young people, because all his contemporary are dead. All the 12 apostles already dead, but John still live. And he will see a lot of things, and he will teach the church many generations younger than him about the future, about what Jesus teach him. And John used the word vision. What's the difference between dream and vision? According to the Bible, dream happen when you're fully asleep. But vision while you have awake, mean that you're not asleep and you're not fully awake. It like you in the trance, and you can see, you can feel all the things around you in another dimension. So this is we call a vision according to the Bible. John saw all the things that while he half awake, half asleep. So he can record everything. Now people say that John record why he see it or why after that. Well, I think both. Something he can record at that moment, something later on. The correction, what happened, but something is so complicated. So I believe God allowed John to record a lot of things. And now people ask that John do it himself or he have helper. Well, maybe both. You know that Jesus apostle by that time don't fully very good at Greek language. They might can speak, but to write down Greek in the perfect way, they need help. Mean that they need younger helper, the second, third generation believer to write down. So we believe that John might not be in that Patmos island alone. There might be a lot of young believers put in jail in the same time. So those young disciples that serving John or follow John might help him. John might repeat what he see and all the young helper recorded. That possibility too. Like even Paul and Peter, Paul have Dr. Luke as a personal helper and doctor to record everything that John want to say. And Peter have John Mark as personal helper or assistant, young disciple with him all the time. And we believe that John will have a few of them too with him all the time, even go to jail with him and help him record all these things. So what else that John mentioned here in verse 3? Now the blessing and the curse. Blessing anyone who read. It means that in the future, anyone who read the book will be blessed, because this is about the life, how to live the life that God will bless. So the blessing go to the one who read the words or this book. And in the early church, the church will go to the meeting by reading the words of God. And when we talk about reading, sometimes they read the whole book, like book of Isaiah or book of the prophet of something. They sit there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just listen to the words of God. And the rabbi or the preacher just say a few words after that. But the main thing is they read the words of God and the people there listen to the words of God. That is the main thing. So when John talk about the blessing, go to the one who read. It's not just a few words, but the whole book in 1 hour or 2 hours. And they sit there, just listen to the words of God. And the one who hear, the second blessing go to the one who hear. It doesn't mean that you sit there, mean that you hear it. A lot of people sit there and sleep, or sit there, don't pay attention. But here mean that the people who pay attention to what the reader read them, they put in their heart, this is the one who will be blessed too. They hear it with their heart, put it in there. And the third group is the one who keep these words, mean that the one who believe, the one who practice, the one who obey, and live by the words. So these are 3 groups who are going to be blessed. The one who read the words of God, the one who listen to the words of God, and the one who practice the words of God. 3 groups of people will be blessed. Now you can guess that John don't mention here yet. But the end of the book in chapter 22, John will talk about the curse. You can guess what the curse is going to be. The one who changed the word, the one who add on the words, of this book, the one who cut the words. And that are the curse to those people. That in chapter 22, that will come in the future. Opposite to the one who are blessed. The cursed one is the one who chain, the one who cut, the one who add on the words of God. And if you on verse 3 talk about 7 times of the book that promised to bless people. In this book of Revelation, you have 7 a lot. 7 years, 7 times, 7 churches. Everything is 7. Why? Well, we believe that 7 is the perfect number of God. Represent God. Number 5 represent man. Number 6 represents Satan. But number 7 represent God. So this is the old belief of the Jew, and early church Christian also use number to represent certain group of things. Like the book of Revelation, later on we talk about the mark of the beast, 666. That the symbol of the beast or Satan and his follower. And why number 5 represent men? Well, somebody say because God will take 7, Satan take number 6, man just have 6 to number 5 to take. So somebody say that maybe God make man on the 5th day or the 6th day. Well, that's another case. But here with collection of all the 7 times that God say he blessed the people in different situations. The people who die for him, the people who listen to him, the people that God called. This is all the blessed one. That the collection of in different chapters. So what year that this book was written? Well, if John is 96, and we believe that John is the same age as Jesus. John is the same age of Jesus. So if John 96, Jesus is 96. So it's the year of AD 96. Because we count that the year that Jesus was born is AD 1 to honor Jesus. So it's around AD 96 that we can guess the best how this book was written. Now, John, he emphasized that it's not any John. You know that John is a very popular name in that time. So many John. It's like today in American culture, there's so many David. You go to any school, any class, when they check roll, believe me, there is at least one David there in that class. Very popular. And John is the same thing. But this is not any John. This is John the disciple, brother of James, son of Zebedee. So this is Jesus' disciple, that Jesus, and the Bible says that the most loved amongst all disciples. That is the title of John, this John. Now we talk about 7 churches again. And a lot of question is why there's so many churches in John time, maybe several hundred churches already. Why they pick up these 7 churches only? And how about the rest, several hundred? Why don't mention about them? Well, the origin believe that these 7 churches represent 7 group of Christians in the future. It doesn't mean that the whole church is one group, but majority of each church is one group. You can see that every church will have mix of people, but they will have majority of people in certain group of people in different church. Like one church will love God the most, another church will love the world the most. So that make the majority of that church different from the rest. And theologians today believe that God selects 7 group of people or 7 group of believers in the future. They are different in some way. But some people say that all the churches are bad. Well, we cannot say that way. We might say that majority of some churches are bad, but there's still some good people in every church. But some churches have a big group of good people. But majority of churches have bad people, bad believers. And you can guess that almost every church have something that God praised them and something that God criticized them. But one church, the Bible never mentioned that God say bad thing about them, only good thing. Now you can guess. Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, Laodicea. Which church? Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the only church, only group that only praising, no condemnation. So majority of people in Philadelphia keep their faith, and God bless them the most. So this is the group of church or believer that be the good model for us to follow. Now later on we will learn about the good thing that we need to follow, that the Bible praise them. No condemnation for this group. And it doesn't mean that they are perfect, but majority of them they have all the best quality that God honor them. Okay, now I am John, lighting these 7 churches. And all these 7 churches is in Asia Minor and in Port Town. Today they are in Turkey. You can go to Turkey today and visit all the leftover of the churches. It's not in the big city, it's the broken part of the city of the churches. Today, Turkey is majority Islam. And in Port Town, all this area belong to Roman. The Roman live there. But after the 8th to the 10th century, the Arab, the Turk moved in, take over all this land and live there instead of the Roman, become the Turk live there, majority of the Turk. Before that time, they are the Greek and the Roman live there. But when the Turk and the Arab move in, they take over and they control it and become majority Turk and Arab and majority Islam. But in Port Town 2,000 years ago, it's all Greek and Roman. So time change, things change. So today you can go and visit all the leftover of the churches. The Turk don't live there anymore. It just keep them for tourists to visit. Or the leftover of the old town, broken up, and they make them a lot of money because the Christians from all over the world want to go there to visit the 7 churches. So for the Turkey, it's good for them to make money out of Christian. So there are many more theory talking about why 7 churches. And we already say that 7 is a good number in the book, this book. They try to lump everything in 7 groups, 7 present, or 7 day, or 7 what. And God confirmed to John that this is the message that Jesus wants John to share with the future, with all believers all over the world. And Jesus himself, the one who lived the first person alive even after death and ruled the king of the earth. Jesus is the one that we worship. And now here, the interesting word here in the Bible. The Greek word for the word Jesus tells us, we will witness to the world. And the Greek word for witness is martyr. Martyr means that you sacrifice your life, you die for your cause. So when Jesus tells his follower or disciple that you're going to witness to the people, it means that you're going to sacrifice your life for me. You cannot witness to the people with sacrifice. Now it makes sense to you? A lot of people say, I want to witness to the world. I want to witness about God, but I'm not going to sacrifice anything. It's impossible. Because the word witness in Greek means martyr, means that you sacrifice even your life to the truth that you try to confirm. There is no martyr without witnessing. There is no witnessing without martyr. Means that you cannot share Jesus' good news without sacrificing yourself. Now it makes sense. In order to share Jesus' good news to the world, we need to be ready to sacrifice. Without sacrifice, nothing works. Because that is not the real witness. So put that in mind. This is a serious thing. And here to confirm that whatever Jesus said comes from God the Father, because Jesus and God the Father are the same. In John 1:18 and John 14:9 say that you see the Son, you see God. You don't see God the Father, you see the Son, and you see God himself, because they are one. To confirm that Jesus is God. In verse 6, God people are a kingdom. They are the people who God is king. It means that we are part of kingdom of God. We are the people of God, and Christ rule over us. He is our king. The kingdom in English comes from two words, king and dom. Mean that wherever the king rule, that means kingdom. King rule over that part. It means that wherever God rule, that is God's kingdom. God have power over it. It can be our life. It can be anywhere and anyone. It's not just a place. It can be a soul, a person too. And confirm that soon Jesus will come back. And this is the hope of the early church until today, that Jesus will come back. And they will see him come back the second time to take them up to heaven with him. So this is the hope from the early church until today. We're still waiting for Jesus' second coming back. And in the book of Revelation, we tell us when exactly. And here I mentioned a little bit about the teaching of Jehovah's Witness. Jehovah's Witness believe that Jesus already come back in 1914. And Jesus hiding in the chamber, secret chamber somewhere in the jungle. This is Jehovah's Witness belief, that Jesus come back already and hiding somewhere in the world. That is the weird teaching. But this is that really believe. But they might never tell anyone. This is their secret. But we know that Jesus not come back yet, because Jesus himself said that when I come back, the whole world will see me with their own eye. Nobody need to tell us. We will see it with our own eye, everyone. So that to confirm that Jesus said that nobody can lie to us, and nobody can tell us, and nobody need to tell us. We will see with our own eye when Jesus come back. Everyone in the world, I don't know, but that's what Jesus said. We don't need to listen to anyone. We will see Jesus with our own eye. Or the prophecy emphasize that. And Jesus here confirmed, God confirmed that I will cause everything to the end, to begin at the end. And God himself able. And this is the mention. I am Alpha and Omega. God said that. And Jesus also said that I am Alpha and Omega. Mean that I am the beginning and the end. Nobody before me, nobody after me. So this is the same quote that Jesus and God the Father used to confirm that they are one. And in verse 9, John confirmed again, I am John. Why people say that John keeps saying that I am John several times? Well, this is the way to confirm that this is not someone else who tried to tell you. This is for me, John, Jesus' disciple, the beloved one, who tell you the truth with my own witness, with my own mouth. Nothing, no one else. Because sometimes people like something a little bit, and later on, someone else come to add on. And John said that no, nobody add on. This is still me. Everything come from me. On the last day, God's Spirit caused me to see and to hear things. People guess that what is the Lord's Day? Well, a lot of theologians believe that this is on Sunday. Even in the old time, for the Jew, it means that Saturday. But for Christians from the early church, the Lord's Day means the day Jesus resurrected, and that is Sunday. So we believe that it's on Sunday that John starts seeing all the vision. And how John see it, that's another good question. A lot of people say that John stand there on the bottommost and see everything, but most theologians today believe that no, God, the Holy Spirit, take John into the future. What that mean? John is in the real situation. Mean that John go with the flow, with the situation, what happened, John there. It's not just see, but John is there, will be there. Now, what the difference? When you see a lot of things, you sit there in your home and you see Thailand, you see Lao in your vision. But for John, no. When things happen in Thailand, John was there. When things happen in England, John is there. So his vision is special, mean that he went into that real thing. He feel that real thing. He is there, he was there, and he will be there. Not just feeling, not just seeing in his vision, but John went to every situation himself. So this is something special. He went into the future. He feel the future. He hear the future. He smelled everything that happened. So it's not just see it, but he is there too. So this is the real thing that John, and some people say that if it's in the future, how John get into it? Well, for God, everything already there. God is in the past, in the present, and in the future in the same time. How could that be? We cannot. We can be in one place at one time. You see that? We can be in the past, the present, or the future one at a time. but God can be in the past, the present, and the future in the same time. And this is God. And God going to show John the same thing. John going to be in the past, the present, and in the future in the same time. Nobody can do that. Only God and the one that God take with him for the future, for the thing. And John went through all that past, present, future, back and forth, back and forth. Today, the theory go on that if we have a time machine, we can do that. And time machine can bring man to the past, the present, and the future one at a time. But still cannot like God. God can be all three in the same time. Past, present, future. Not one at a time, but three in the same time. This is God. So John gets some special permit from God to go to the past, to live in the past, to live in the present, and to live in the future. In God's time machine. That John went through all these things, still alive. And in verse 11, the Bible and the Spirit that told John, write everything down, record everything down, and send to all the churches, the 7 churches. And we already mentioned that it's not just the 7 small churches. You know that in John time, there's some churches bigger than all these 7 churches. These 7 churches not big, like Corinth is many times bigger than all the churches. But that I say that God chose these 7 churches to represent 7 group of believers in the future, different believers, not the size of the church, but majority of people in each group represent the future. So God wants them to know the future too. It's fair. People say that God did not want me. The Bible says that God warned them already. They know what will happen to them if they do a certain thing. God already told them in advance. If you choose to be this way, what will happen to you? Well, a lot of people love to go to fortune teller to know the future. And this is God keep them free. What will happen to them in the future if they behave this way? This is already clear. And God is the one who's going to tell them, lie to them, warn them what will happen to them in the future if they keep doing what they're doing. But they can change. And I say that Philadelphia is the only group that God honored them, praised them a lot, because they have a lot of good quality that we will learn in the future. What good thing that they have. So it just repeats the same thing to John, that you need to lie to them, warn them, tell them about what will happen to them. Now John looked back to the voice that talked to him, and he said, the 7 gold lamps stand with their light. In the middle of the light, someone like a son of man, who was wearing long clothes that reached down to his feet, wore a gold belt, top part of his body. He saw Jesus himself. And this is Jesus, the Son of God now, not Jesus, the man that John used to know. Now, what the difference? Well, when Jesus become man, fully man, but when he going to go back to be God, he fully God. It's not exactly the same Jesus, because now he in the form of God, and John can tell. It's different from the past when Jesus walked in this world, but John have the feeling, the sense that this is Jesus, the the one he know, but this is the form of God. And there is a lot of things represent Jesus. The seven lamb can come from many parts of the Bible. And a lot of scholars say, oh, Solomon temple have seven lamb too. The temple in Solomon time or in the old day of Moses time, they always have seven gold lamps stand there. And you can many quote from the book of Zechariah also see the same vision. And here more detail about the robe that Jesus put on and all the symbol that John see represent what Jesus is. And more detail here. And John saw the symbol that Jesus had white like sheep hair. They were very white like snow. His eyes were like fire that was burning brightly. This is the symbol of Jesus, the God the Son that John see. And a lot of scholars believe that this is all the symbol about Jesus, his power or his thing that he will do, his holiness or his power. So this is a lot of things represent a certain thing. It features like a yellow metal that shines brightly. This is some version will say this is the brass. Brass is the metal that in the old time they use the mixer. Brass is metal of copper, 95% copper, and maybe 5 to 10% tin. They mix together, make the metal so strong, not rust and shining. And in the old day, they used a lot of this kind of metal. They call brass a lot. And you can look at all the modern statue, also brass. It's 90% copper and 10% tin. It makes it stronger, shinier, no rust, and more beautiful. And that's what John see at the feet of Jesus. That's the best thing that he can explain. Now Jesus holds 7 stars in his hand. A sword in his sword with 2 edges come out his mouth. A lot of scholars believe that all his words is the words of God. You see, the Bible says the words of God, the Bible is the 2 sources. Whatever he says is the power. Can save and can hurt. It depends on what you believe, obey or not. And his faith shine like the sun, brightly. And this is the thing that John saw. Jesus, the Son, the Godhead now, not Jesus, the man that he know many years ago. And this is Jesus in his real form of Jesus, God the Son. Now you see in 17, it's different. In the past, John will run to Jesus, the man, but now he fell down. Because this is God the Son with all the power, and John felt like the way that this is God, not Jesus, the man he know now. It's different. And John knelt down in front of Jesus, the Son, the God, the Son. But Jesus tell him, don't be afraid. I'm the one who is the first and the last, to confirm to him that I am God, God the Son. Always live and die once, but look, now I'm alive. I will be alive forever. To confirm to John that yes, I once Jesus the man who died, but now I'm alive to be God the Son again. Authority over death overheaded the praise of dead people, mean that conquer over death and headed. We, in the old time, we believe that Satan conquer and rule over headed or hell, but no more. Even there, Jesus rule over it. Satan have no place to rule anymore. God control everywhere. And the question go on that why God allowed Satan to rule over death before? Well, that the place that he ran away from God. But now, nowhere that they can run from God. God control everything, even in hell. Jesus went there and conquered death. You remember Jesus died 3 days, he went there. He conquered death, conquered hell, and saved a lot of people who believe in him and bring them out. He ruled over there too. So it means that God in control of everywhere, and Satan have no place to say, and no place that he rule anymore. Jesus confirmed to John that lie down everything, don't keep it secret anymore. Open it up, let people know, warn them. So there is many things in this verse that tell us that the past is secret, the present open. Now everything God will tell us, and even the future God will show us, because God want to warn us and want to save us and want to help us. That's the intention of this book, to save man as many as possible, to give man the last chance to come back to God. And here will more 7 stars that held in his right hand, 7 lights that show the way to all the men and to save them. And this is what John see in the end. That God really want to save man and want to help man until the end. That John confirmed, that Jesus confirmed to him. And here to confirm to us that we don't look back to the past. We look for the future. And here the last book of the Bible tells us about the future and want us to look up to the future. We learn from the future, be ready, prepare for the future that's coming. We don't live in the past anymore. We need to save everyone because the future will be clear. Some will be saved, some going to be condemned. But now we still have the time, we still have the chance to save many people. We're ready to witness to them, and witness mean martyr, mean that sacrifice. In order to witness to them, we need to be ready to sacrifice. No sacrificial, no sacrifice, no witness. Well, we have to learn, we have to talk about this. Why we fail to witness? All our witness fail because there is no sacrifice in there. Now let's face it. Why our witness fail? Because it's not sacrifice in there. We have to rethink how we witness. We're ready to sacrifice or not. How to do that? Jesus pays the price with his life. The disciple pay their life. We might not need to pay our life to witness, but a lot of things we need to pay to witness for Jesus. The question is, we're ready to sacrifice or not? We have a few minutes for your question. Yes, Nathan?
Ajahn, I think this is in verse 17. When John saw Jesus as God the Son, and John bowed down, and Jesus said, "Don't bow down." Why?
Well, you see, God lowered himself to be with us. You
Okay.
see that it's different. In the past, we can never get close to God, but now God come down to be with us, lower himself to save us. And Jesus said, I'm not calling you servant anymore. I call you friend now.
But it's not because he feels it's not worthy to be worshipped, or just because he doesn't want John to bow down on him.
No, in fact, he's still God, and we still not worthy. But you see, the whole thing is God lower himself down, so
Okay.
we can be with him. Without doing that, we cannot get close to God.
Okay, but it's not. Let's put it just like when Jesus said, "Don't." The Bible said, "Don't worship other God." Like usually we say we don't worship, we don't bow to other angels, but for Jesus Christ, Son, God the Son, he was allowed to if Jesus allow him. Is that right?
You see, God still have all the authority for us to bow down, to worship him. And that is still have to be. But God allow us to be his heir, his children. So this is unthinkable.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Kamsai.
Ajahn, earlier when we first introduction to Revelation, you mentioned that the angel gave the revelation to John. So is that contradict to 2 Timothy 3:16? Like the scripture or the Bible inspired by the Holy Spirit, by God?
You see, the angel come to, you might say that facilitate John, to show John, like in time of Daniel. God showed Daniel a lot of things, but he don't understand. He cannot get it. So the angel come to explain to Daniel what that means, to help him understand, to help him get over a certain point. So we believe the same thing. Angel come to help John in the certain part to understand or to get over something. But all the visions still come from God or Jesus, God's Son himself. But the angel just be there to help.
Okay, so the angel, the helper, but the what revealed to John from God.
Yeah, from God, from Jesus himself.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, if you look deeper, you will see a lot of detail in there. Most of the time we overlook them. But everything in small detail have symbol, have meaning. Yeah, Nathan?
Yeah, I was listening, and the one preacher, he explained number 7. He said, he described like this. He said, 3 is God's is Trinity, and 4 is a 4 corner of the planet. Do you agree?
Well, you can make any theory. There are many more theory about the 7. And as long as it makes sense, you can take it. Or you can say that 3 plus 4 is 7.
So what would be the 4 then?
Well, you might say that 3 is you and your wife and your kid. and 4 is your grandchildren. So make 7 the family of God. Yeah, okay.
Okay, John, it seems to me when I see the last chapter, John mentioned about no add-on, no take-out. So why the scholar can change the chapter, verses, and topic?
Well, you see, the whole Bible have no chapter, no verses. But early on, they try to help us. For example, we talk about Genesis chapter 1, verse 10. You can go straight to that point, but if no chapter, no verse, they say talk about the first of the world. Now you flip the whole Bible. Where is it?
So that mean the scholar come together and then agree with that, and that is not considered we add on.
No, they just try to make it easier to find where in the Bible. That's all.
Okay.
It's
Thank
like the GPS of today. Try to locate you. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, one thing that good in the cruise ship that I go, there are 3,300 passengers, 1,000 crew. So it's almost 5,000 people. And it's about 17 stories. When I try to find my wife, I have to look the GPS where she is.
So Ajahn, if the scholar they didn't change that anyway, so by God's wisdom, so I think that we still can understand, isn't it? If
Well, I think that a lot of people will be very difficult. In Jesus' time, for example, when they read the Bible, they read the whole book. Like
that's why I
Isaiah.
was to see the Old Testament, and then there is no verse, no chapter. They can do the whole Bible verse and whole chapter. Whole book.
Yeah, the only way for people in those days is they have to memorize the whole book.
That's why I said maybe that is the God will change it. Let the scholar can do it this way. That's how we can get it easier.
Yeah, later.
Ajahn, in Jewish Jewish people's what is it, Torah?
Yeah.
Do they have a chapter and verses, or they just do the same same old way?
No chapter, no verse.
So when you read, you have to read the whole Bible.
Yes.
Okay.
But some people who memorize the whole book, they can quote a certain part, but they cannot tell you chapter 9 or chapter 10 because no chapter. They just quote it from memory, that's all. They
Then
just can
everybody,
say,
when they read it, and then they might guess it, say, oh, maybe that part, some area over there. If they don't read the Bible, and then there's no way we can understand which part is.
yeah, like when Jesus quote the Bible, he just say, Isaiah say that. Cannot tell the Isaiah chapter 10, verse 17 or something. You need to know the whole Bible to follow him.
I can say that the jumping back to the
Back and come back, and back
to
and
the
forth.
future,
Yeah.
and then back to the old.
The only way for people in those days to learn the Bible is memorize the whole book.
Ooh.
So you should thank God that now we have chapter, we have verses.
Oh, Ajahn, one more question. For today's preacher, sometimes they say translation is not perfect, and then he can do the way that he said, this is the best way I can edit some like couple verses. Is this a right way to do it or no?
No, we
And
should
what
not,
for the,
we shall not
the
add
Paul?
words to the Bible.
People say that Paul doesn't have the
Oh, and a lot of people said sometimes we have a small group and then they argue with the Jesus' disciple said Jesus didn't give them the degree or the diploma, so they can teach, they can preach, they can do all kind, funeral and marriage, all kind, because what we just read the Bible, we can do.
Well, you see, there are thousands of believers in Jesus' time or in early church, but a few are selected.
That's
the
why
work.
I was
A
thinking
few.
that one too. That is same thing as like that, and
Paul, remember?
mm,
That time stay with Paul stay with Jesus how many
how many years? 3.5 years. We
Yep,
just
they
had it.
learn.
Yeah, that is the
consider
consider that is the certificate.
Yep, they
That
get
is
training.
the degree. Yeah, with them, with Jesus, the whole 3.5 years and sleep with them, stay with them, with Jesus. That's the house I think about. That is the degree that Jesus gave it to the disciple.
people say that
They even demand more than what we demand today. They live with Jesus full time, 3.5
Yes.
years.
And then they asked me many days, and then until I have no way to answer, I said, maybe someday I talk to Ajahn again. And I just said, in protection for just in case if you preach or teaching, if someone will, take you to the court, and then if you don't have proof, and then they say you false statement. So that way your certificate or your degree might defend on you. That's why we have that thing to defend, and then this is for the human, and that everybody agree with that. So
Well, they can go a different way. If they go under some professor, get training full time for 3.5 years, they don't need any certificate, but they need to be under some guidance, training, 3.5 years, full time, live with them.
Yep. That's why they said no. Jesus said, this is the Bible. You just follow me, all you can do. That's why I said, it's not right, because Jesus is a disciple with Jesus the whole time.
Yeah, the Bible say that when Jesus said, follow me, they left their family, their job, everything, and stay with Jesus full time.
Thank you.
Can they do that? Ask them, left everything and stay with Jesus full time. 3.5 years. Yes, Kamsai.
Jan, I think about the certification is something to prove that they stay with the course the whole time. It's to prove that they've gone through the course.
Modern day, we just give you a piece of paper to prove that you go anywhere, that this proof that the school confirm that you stay with them 3 or 4 years full time, you pass all the exam and you qualify. That's all. It's just like your passport, wherever you go in the world. That paper prove that who you are.
Ajahn, I think Ajahn understand what I try to say because a lot of people that argue with that, they said, we don't need to have that certificate. So we just learn ourselves and that's it. If we need, we know the Bible and we can do everything. To me, I said, yeah, you can do all, but just in case you're like a Paul, and then they take you to the jail, are you ready to bring your cross with you? You can, you know what, suffer whatever you can do. If yes, you can do. If not, and then you need to have something to defend on you.
Well, I will give them an option. Some people can read the whole Bible, study themselves, and pass all the tests. Yeah, very few of them can do that. Possible, but very few.
Yeah, I heard one of a group, people said he's afraid of go to the theology. When that is a human's makeup. That's why he said he don't want to go to the theology. That's a fake. That's why I said, I don't want have a conversation with him. That's all.
You say just read the Bible and just do whatever follow the Bible. That's all.
Yeah, he was out loud in the Zoom said, just follow the Bible and you can do all. That's it. Don't go to the theology. When you go from the school and then this is a man-made.
Confused, he said.
And then, it's not right. I said, if Jesus' disciples not with Jesus, how can they go preach around?
It's like you say that I don't send my kid to school and let them find their own way. Well, it's tough.
Oh, that is the quick answer. That's
Yeah.
good. Yep. Thank you, Ajahn.
You're welcome. Might be some parents don't want to send their kid to school.
For me, I think that they want to make. If they can study the Bible and then they can use for the teaching, I think that is good too. And for them, they say unnecessary for the certificate. But I say that is your choice, we don't make you to do it.
Yeah, I say possible for someone that can learn everything themselves, but very few people can do that. It's like I have to go back. You don't send your kid to school and hope they will find their own way and find a way to learn it themselves. It's tough.
I have one question about the Bible. Ajahn talking about that the word is a witness, and that is a Greek word, right? Witness, and that witness means mother, and that's a new thing I heard tonight. So I haven't heard that before. So that's a really, really important word for us to know that. A lot of people out there, they say they're witness about Christ, about God, God's witness. And since I hear this word, I understand that when people say that and they don't understand at all, just like me, I just know right now.
Yeah. When we translate the Greek or the Hebrew, we lost a lot of real meaning.
Yeah, so for the example, for the witness, for Christ, so like Jesus, he chose Paul for his witness, and see, he suffered all the way to the Rome,
Yes,
and
yes.
he been on captive in Rome, being there till his old age. So that's the witness we can see, witness for God. And today, a lot of people they say they witness for God, for Christ, and for me, I think they don't understand that word. What does that mean? So
Yeah.
and
Okay.
next time, next time when I say that, probably I have to be careful.
Yeah, when we know more about the truth.
And I have one more question about that seven church. And how come God chose that seven church? Can you tell me a little bit about that? Why they chose that seven church?
We mentioned that they just represent 7 group of believers in the future.
Is there any different meaning for that seven church?
Well, they're all different group. You can compare to today Christian in the world. Some stick to the verse by verse. Some just do the ceremony. Some just call themselves Christian, but don't believe anything. And some really sacrifice everything for God, for Jesus. So this is different group of Christian in the future. And God going to criticize them that they just call themselves Christian by name, but not by faith, not by practice at all.
And I heard Ajahn mention about Philippines.
Yeah, Philadelphia is the only group that get all the compliment. Mean that they sacrifice everything for Jesus. They really obey God to the end. They suffer for God.
And so seven, but only one church.
Yeah, majority of people in the church faithful to God until the end.
Okay, I see. Thank you so much. That's all I have.
Okay. So I will end tonight and we will come back next week. And if you need any help, you get in touch with me by phone, by email, or text. And send in your registration this week.
Okay, sorry. So I forgot about that. So now I looked at that email early and I thought that the first couple email you sent it to me, I thought I've been looking at it. You said we starting in the 28th. I thought the class will be starting the 28th, and I talked to Care, and Care say, "Oh no, it's the 23rd, so this week, Friday." So I wasn't have time to print that out and fill it out and send it back. So I'll get that ready before we come to class next week. I send it back to Ajahn. Okay.
Okay. You have time if you need more time for the money. But for the form, I need to send it to seminary. So to confirm that you will get credit.
Okay.
So the form need to come right away, but if you need more time for the payment, we can wait for that.
The payment, so for me, the church pay for it. So they just let them know, and then they can write a check, and I can send
Okay.
it to account to.